कोभिड-19 को महामारीले गर्दा पठन पाठनमा भएको असहज परिस्थितिमा पनि रीड नेपाल र कालिका मानवज्ञान मावि बुटवलद्वारा उत्पादित यो कार्यक्रम ग्रिन तारा नेपाल, फेडो नेपाल र रीड नेपालबाट संयुक्त रूपमा सञ्चालित स्ट्रङ गर्ल्स प्रोजेक्टको एक अंश हो। यस करोडा जर्मनी तथा जर्मन सरकार BMZ को आर्थिक सहयोग रहेको छ। स्टे होम, स्टे सेफ।
Hello and namaste everyone. This is Praveen Tandon. Like each week, today also I am here present to discuss something regarding grade 7's English. And yes, today we will discuss reflexive pronoun. Topic is reflexive pronoun. Before this, I just want to tell that please take out your copy and pen, and whatever we discuss in today's classroom, please jot it down in your copy. Okay, with this note, let us move towards our classroom. Specific objective, first of all. Specific objective means what we are going to discuss in today's classroom. Okay, so let's see, my dear students, in today's classroom we will be dealing with reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronoun, okay, the topic is reflexive pronoun, and at the end of today's class, that means on completion of this lesson, students will be able to number one, you see, identify, or you can also say find out, to find out 8 types of reflexive pronoun. Okay, reflexive pronoun. Our first objective is, at the end of this lesson, students will be able to, that means you will be able to identify or find out 8 types of reflexive pronoun. That is our first objective. All right, and there is one more, that is to use those 8 objectives, in your own sentences. Okay, let's see. Our first objective is to find out 8 types of reflexive pronoun. We will discuss about those types later on after a while. And second objective is to use those 8 reflexive pronoun, reflexive pronouns in your own sentence. That means basically I am trying to make you understand about these types of reflexive pronoun in today's classroom, and at the same time, after you understand these types, okay, after you encounter with these with those types of reflexive pronoun, you will be able to create some sentences using these 8 types of reflexive pronoun. Okay, you will be more creative in that way. So our main topic is reflexive pronoun for today's class. Okay, before we move into reflexive pronoun, I just want to refresh you, because you have done topic pronoun in class 5 also, in class 6 also. So this is class 7, that means in this class also we are going to deal with this with this type of reflexive pronoun. Okay, so all of you please concentrate. Okay, so question is, what is pronoun now? What is pronoun? So what do you mean by pronoun? Question, what is pronoun? Can you guess what is pronoun, or what are pronouns? What kinds of words are known as pronoun? Can you guess? Okay, you have done this before. I think you know the definition of pronoun, and I know very well that you can give me some examples of pronoun also. Like, to be exact, pronouns are such words, all of you concentrate on your board. Pronouns are such words which are used instead of noun, which are used instead of nouns. So, the words which are used instead of nouns are called pronouns. Okay, one more time, the words which are used instead of nouns are called pronouns. For example, let us see, Ram is my brother. Ram is my brother. He has got long silky hair. You see, there are two sentences, right? Ram is my brother is your first sentence. Ram is my brother is your first sentence. So, this Ram is noun. Yes, Ram is noun. Somebody's name means of course noun. So, noun is the naming word of a person, place, things, objects, etc., etc. Okay, Ram is a name of person, that means this one is noun. Ram is my brother, this is your first sentence. You see, in our second sentence, he has got long silky hair. In our second sentence also we are talking about the same person Ram. Okay, in this sentence also we are talking about the same person Ram. Therefore, but in second case you see there is no noun used in second case, right? There is no noun used in second case. There is pronoun. Yes, there is pronoun. So, this pronoun is used instead of noun. Instead of Ram, we have used subject he here. He means pronoun. Why he? Because Ram is a boy. Ram is a boy. Masculine gender. Ram refers to masculine gender, right? So, you have done this before also. Gender, types of gender, masculine gender, feminine gender, etc., etc. You see, Ram refers to masculine gender. Masculine gender means he is a male, he is a boy. So, if there is masculine gender, we always use he. If there is feminine gender, we use she, right? So, the words used instead of noun, they are called pronoun. You can see in this example, Ram is noun and instead of Ram, we have used pronoun he, because Ram is male, right? So, these kind of words are known as pronoun. Okay. There are some types of pronoun also. You see, talking about types of pronoun, some types of pronoun are like this. Personal pronoun, types of pronoun, personal pronoun. Okay. Similarly, demonstrative pronoun, next one is distributive pronoun, similarly reflexive pronoun, right? Likewise, interrogative pronoun, yes, interrogative pronoun, emphatic pronoun, relative pronoun, so these are some types of pronoun. Today our main topic is reflexive pronoun. Okay, in today's class, especially this class is completely based on reflexive pronoun, which is also a type of pronoun, right? Until this time I am just refreshing you, whatever you have learned in class 5, class 6, I am just refreshing you until this time. Okay, so we have discussed what noun is and what pronoun is. So, pronouns are those kinds of words which are used instead of nouns, like instead of Ram we have used here he, in that way. Okay, And some types of pronouns are this, you see, personal pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, distributive, reflexive, interrogative, emphatic, relative pronoun. These are some types of pronoun. Okay? And our main concern for today's class is reflexive pronoun. All right, reflexive pronoun. Now, let us discuss what reflexive pronoun is, what kinds of words are known as reflexive pronoun, and how they are used in a sentence. Let's see. Okay. Now, let us go to the reflexive pronoun. Our today's main concern. Today's main concern is reflexive pronoun. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Now, reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronoun. Okay. So now, what is reflexive pronoun? What is reflexive pronoun? Can you tell me what reflexive pronoun is? Reflexive pronoun are, you see, reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronouns are those kinds of pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are those kinds of pronouns. Write down also, okay? Those kinds of pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are those kinds of pronouns which use self, S-E-L-F, self in singular case, okay, which use self in singular case, and S-E-L-V-E-S. Spelling is quite different, you see, and similar is the case with pronunciation also. S-E-L-F, self in singular case, and S-E-L-V-E-S, selves in plural case. In plural case. In plural case. That means reflexive words end in either in self or in selves. Okay. So these are known as suffixes. Let us not go into that part, but yes, those words which end in self, S-E-L-F, self in singular case, S-E-L-V-E-S, selves in plural case, those kinds of words are known as reflexive pronoun. Okay. Reflexive pronoun are those words, those kinds of pronouns which use self or selves at the end of base word, or let us say base pronoun, and it also shows, reflexive pronouns also shows the relationship, it also shows the relationship between the subject and between the subject and the object in a sentence. Okay. One more time, all of you concentrate, please write it down also. Reflexive pronouns are those kinds of pronouns which use self, S-E-L-F, self in singular case, and S-E-L-V-E-S, selves in plural case. All right, at the end of base word. Base word means original word or pronoun. Okay, it also shows, that means reflexive pronoun also shows the relationship between the subject and the object in a sentence. That means within a sentence we can see relation between your subject and then object. There is relation. Okay. For example, let's see. For example, we will find out the relationship also. Okay, we will find out both this self and self also. We will use self and self also, and at the same time we will find out the relationship between subject and object also. Okay. For example, I eat myself. All of you see on the board, I eat myself. I eat myself. So we all know that, I is your subject, right? I is your subject. In this sentence, I is subject. It is main verb. It is main verb. Yes, it is main verb. I is subject, it is main verb, and myself is object in this case. myself is object in this case, right? I is subject, it is verb, and myself is object. As I have mentioned to you, as I have told you that, you see, reflexive pronoun always add suffix self, self in singular case, and self, selves in plural case. So here I refers to a single person, I means me, right? I means me, only one person, that means single person. So in such case we use singular suffix which is self. That is why I have added here self, myself. My is also pronoun, yes, my is also pronoun. So we have mentioned that at the end of base word, or pronoun, my is also pronoun, and after this base pronoun my, we have added here self, because reflexive pronoun always end in self or selves. Okay. Now let us find out the relationship between subject and object. You see, this one, I is subject and myself is object. There is relation, right? There is relation. I eat myself. I eat myself. That means I do not need anyone else help to eat my food. I eat myself. I don't want anyone else help to eat my food. I can eat by myself. So this is the fact, you see, there is relation between subject and object. So to show relationship between subject and object also we use reflexive pronoun, or sometimes with the help of relative pronouns we can give some more emphasis. We can give some more emphasis in a sentence with the help of relative pronoun also. So within a sentence where emphasis is given, so that thing also we can determine with the help of reflexive pronoun. Okay, these are some uses of reflexive pronoun. Okay, so as I have mentioned to you, there are 8 types of reflexive pronoun. How many types? Right, 8 types of reflexive pronoun. Okay, this is the chart. You know this is the chart. For example, all of you see, yes, this is the chart. So we will discuss about both kinds of reflexive pronoun, singular also and then plural also. Okay, all of you focus on the board. First of all, singular reflexive pronoun and their bonding means how they are made, that also we will discuss. Singular reflexive pronoun, and here we will discuss plural reflexive pronoun. Differences you can distinguish. Okay, so there are some differences, that differences we will find out. Let's see. First of all, my, like in this sentence we have used myself also. So we are going to form this myself, I mean how this word, how this reflexive pronoun myself is formed, that we are going to see here. My plus this is our base pronoun, right? My is our base pronoun, and my is used for I only. Okay, if your subject is I, at that time we use my plus self. We use suffix self in reflexive pronoun at the end of base pronoun. My plus self is equal to myself. Yes, my plus self is equal to myself. And when do we use my? If your subject is I. If your subject is I, at that time we use my, because my is the other form, my is the next form of your subject I, because I is in subjective case, me is your objective case of I, and my is your possessive case, and sometimes my can be used in objective case also. That is why if your subject is I, at that time we use my, and if we add self, that becomes reflexive pronoun. Are you getting my point? Okay. So in this way we form myself. Similarly, next one is you. If your subject is you, okay, singular case, singular. So you can determine both subject, I mean you can be singular also sometime, you can be plural also sometime. Okay, I will give you example in what case you becomes singular and what case you becomes plural. So, that thing we will discuss after a while. Yes, you in a singular case. Okay, singular means again self, again we use self, you plus self is equal to yourself. If your subject is you, and if that denotes a singular subject, at that time your reflexive pronoun will be yourself. Remember, in singular case also, in singular case only. Okay, if you is used as a plural pronoun, at that time you have to go to the next plural version of yourself, that is yourselves. We will discuss that after a while. So, yes, your plus self is equal to yourself. Similarly, if your subject is he, that becomes him plus self. Him plus self is equal to himself. If your subject is he, which refers masculine gender, at that time your reflexive pronoun will be himself. So, this is the combination, him plus self is equal to himself. What if your subject becomes she? Can you guess? She means her plus self is equal to herself. If your subject is she, then your reflexive pronoun will be herself. Okay, if your subject is she, your reflexive pronoun will be herself. All right. Yes, similarly, if your subject is it, at that time it becomes it plus self is equal to itself. So, when do we use itself? If your subject is it or any things or objects, non-living things. If non-living thing is present as your subject in a sentence, at that time we use itself, we use reflexive pronoun itself. Okay. So, these are singular reflexive pronoun: myself, yourself, himself, herself and itself. These are singular reflexive pronoun. Okay. How many pronouns are there? How many singular reflexive pronouns are there? Altogether there are 5. Yes, there are 5 singular reflexive pronoun. And conditions, you see conditions, if your subject is I, at that time we use reflexive pronoun myself. If your subject is your, at that time we use reflexive pronoun yourself. Remember, but in singular case. Okay, in singular case, if your subject is he or any male's names, at that time we use reflexive pronoun himself. So, subject can be used in noun form also. Okay, if your noun, if that particular subject is the name of boy, male, I mean of masculine gender, at that time we use himself. And if it is girl, then at that time we use herself. If your subject refers to thing or object, at that time we use itself. There are altogether 5 singular reflexive pronoun. Okay. So, I think you are clear now. Now, we will discuss some plural reflexive pronoun and then their bond. Okay, how they are formed. Let us see. Number first one is our. Okay, if your subject is we, at that time you have to use your pronoun our. Whenever you are going to use reflexive pronoun, okay, your base pronoun becomes our and plus. Now, time for selves. Okay, because we are talking about plural reflexive pronoun. In plural form, we are going to use selves. S-E-L-V-E-S. Our plus selves. S-E-L-V-E-S. That becomes ourselves. You see, our plus selves. Spelling. Focus in spelling. Okay. Now, this time in plural case we use S-E-L-V-E-S, selves. Our plus selves, that become ourselves. Okay. Plural. This one is plural reflexive pronoun. And when do we use ourselves? If your subject is we, at that time we use ourselves. Okay. Next, a plural reflexive pronoun is your. if your subject is you. But now in this case, if that subject refers to multiple people, if your subject refers to more than 2 or more than 2 people, okay, in plural case, as I have mentioned you subject you can be used as singular version also. At that time we use self, self in singular version, and sometime you can refer to plural subject also. At that time we have to use selves, that becomes selves. Yes, now your reflexive pronoun is yourselves. Yourselves. You see spelling, there is difference, okay, there is difference between these yourselves and yourself. These yourselves and yourself, they are completely two different things, two different pronouns. One is singular, one refers to singular, and second one refers to plural form. This one is used for singular subject, okay, and this one is used for plural subject. So I think after example you will be clear. And yes, there is one more plural reflexive pronoun, that is them. Your base pronoun is them, and then you add selves, because this one is also plural form, that becomes themselves. Themselves. And when do we use themselves? When your subject is plural, I mean they. When your subject is they, at that time we use themselves. If your subject is they, at that time we use themselves. Okay. So these are 8 reflexive pronouns, 5 singular reflexive pronoun and 3 plural reflexive pronoun. Altogether there are 8 kinds of reflexive pronoun. You see, altogether there are 8 kinds of reflexive pronoun. Now how these reflexive pronouns are used in a sentence? How these reflexive pronouns are used in a sentence effectively? Okay, how can we create a grammatically right sentence with the help of reflexive pronoun? That we will discuss. I think you guys have written these things. Now let us go to some examples. Okay, I'll give you some examples. Okay, you see, let us discuss some examples now. All right, for myself, as I have told you, if your subject is I, at that time we use myself. For example, I feed myself. I feed myself, because your subject is I, that is why myself is your reflexive pronoun. I feed myself. When there is I, your reflexive pronoun will be myself. Similarly, your or subject you in singular case, okay, you feed, and reflexive pronoun is you feed, very good, yourself, self only, yourself, because here subject you is used as singular form. Okay, I am talking to a single person at this time, that is why you feed yourself, self, because you is used as singular version here. I am not asking to several people here, I am talking with a single person. At that time you becomes singular form, and singular form always takes self, self. Okay. All right, next one, he feeds himself. He feeds himself. You see, there is relation between your subject and object. He feeds himself. Similarly, she feeds, can you guess, herself. She feeds herself. Reflexive pronoun herself is used for feminine gender. She feeds herself. Can you give me one example using it? My pen broke itself. My pen means thing, object, right? Object. For object we always use pronoun it. My pen broke itself. There is a relation between your subject and reflexive pronoun itself. So these are some singular reflexive pronoun. In this way we use reflexive pronoun in sentences, right? So, now let us talk about plural one. For example, same example, let us see, we feed our, this time SELVES, SELVES, we feed ourselves, because your subject is we and we refers to plural subject, right? That is why ourselves, SELVES, ourselves. Okay. You are 4 in numbers. You are 4 in numbers. So, you can feed yourselves. You see the difference? You are 4 in numbers, that means there are 4 people, right? There are 4 people. 4 people means plural form, multiple persons are there. You are 4 in numbers, so you can feed yourselves. So, you can feed yourselves. Now, you is used as plural form here in this sentence, that is why SELVES, selves. Okay. One more, with subject they feed themselves, right? They is subjective and them is objective. Yes, they feed themselves. So, these are some examples of plural reflexive pronoun and these are some examples of singular reflexive pronoun. So, in this way we create relation between subject and object with the help of reflexive pronouns. Are you getting my point? Alright. Now, let us discuss, let us see some slides now. All of you see some slides. Okay. So, we begin our class from this one, pronoun, definition of pronoun, right. So, before that let us see what noun is. A noun is a word that names a person, object, idea or place. That means basically noun is a naming word, right. So, let us see now pronoun. Pronoun takes the place of noun or pronoun. That means if words are used, I mean pronouns are used instead of noun, right, saving the need to write the noun twice. So, those kinds of words are called pronoun. The words which are used instead of noun, they are called pronoun, right. So, next one, let us see next slide now. Our next slide. Okay, pronoun. So, pronoun is a part of speech, So, among various parts of speech, pronoun is also one. Parts of speech means like articles, adjectives, adverbs, conjunction, pronoun, verb, these all are parts of speech, right. Among these various parts of speech, pronoun is one. Pronoun is a part of speech which functions as a replacement for a noun. Replacement means instead of noun, if we used some other words which are not noun, they are called pronoun. So, they are the replacement for noun, phrase, phrase means combinations of words. Okay, we have discussed in our first class under lesson 1 about phrase and clause there also. Yes, noun can be replacement for, pronoun can be replacement for noun also, noun phrase also, and sometimes noun clause also. There are some examples, you see examples of pronoun, you can write it down also. I, it, he, she, mine, his, hers, we, they, these all are pronouns. Okay. We will further discuss in our next slide about these things. You see types of pronouns now. These are some types of pronouns: personal pronoun, emphatic pronoun, reflexive pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, distributive pronoun, relative pronoun, exclamatory pronoun, possessive pronoun, interrogative pronoun, indefinite pronoun. Among these varieties of pronouns, types of pronoun, reflexive pronoun is one. You can see reflexive pronoun on number 3rd. You see? Did you see? Today's our main topic was reflexive pronoun. Okay. So, we will discuss more in our next slide now after these types. Reflexive pronoun now. What is reflexive pronoun? It is one of the type of pronoun which refers back to the subject of the sentence or clause. You see, they are used when an object in the same as the subject. If you are going to create some kind of relation between subject and object, at that time you are going to use reflexive pronoun. There is one example given for you. That example is, you see, you see yourself. You see yourself. In this case, you refers to singular subject. That is why there is self, self only. If it was plural form, then it had become yourselves, selves, selves, right? You see yourself, you see yourself. Of course, yourself is reflexive pronoun here, because the subject and object are same. You see, subject and object are same, they are related. So, in this related case we can use reflexive pronoun. The object is written as yourself, which refers to singular reflexive pronoun. All right, yourself, self means singular reflexive pronoun, right? So, we will discuss more in our next slide, where you are going to see, yes, subject and reflexive pronoun more clearly. There are more reflexive pronouns than just yourself and myself. In fact, to be exact, there are 8 kinds of reflexive pronouns. For example, himself and herself are reflexive pronouns. All of these words are formed by adding the suffix self for singular or selves, selves for plural to a base pronoun. Base pronoun means original pronoun. Okay. Subject, you see, if your subject is I, reflexive pronoun becomes my. Example, you can see there, I see myself. You can write these things also. If your subject is you in singular case, then that becomes, in that case, yourself, self, you see yourself. If your subject is he, himself, you can see example also. If your subject is she, herself. If your subject is it or any object or thing, at that time itself. If your subject is you but plural form, that you refers to plural form, at that time we are going to use yourselves, selves, like you see yourselves. Here you refers to plural form. For example, multiple people, okay, more than 2 or more than people, in that case we use yourselves. Similarly, we, there is we also, next subject is we. So, if there is we, if your subject is we, at that time your reflexive pronoun becomes ourselves, like we see ourselves. If your subject is they, your reflexive pronoun becomes themselves. Okay, they, she, themselves. Some more clarity I would like to give you through our next slide. Let us see our next slide, where you will be more clear. You see, these are some singular reflexive pronouns. Altogether there are 8 reflexive pronouns: myself, itself, herself, yourself, himself. We have just learned yourselves, themselves and ourselves are plural reflexive pronoun, right? Okay. So, after this, in our next slide we will discuss some more about, yes, one more time, subject and reflexive pronoun. We have done this before. I think you are now clear about these things. So, which subject takes which reflexive pronouns? Okay. So, after this, let us see our next slide, where we will discuss more about, there are some examples, as you can see, examples, yes, about various kinds of examples are there, right. So, in this way reflexive pronouns are used in sentences. Okay. Okay. So, I think you read it out these examples. After this, we will move to the next slide. There are some practice examples. You see, when we do self talk, we talk to, we. Now, you can guess, okay. Sarah and Tom talk to, use reflexive pronouns. There are some options also in different ways. Sarah works out and keeps. Sarah means girl's name. So, what reflexive pronoun is used in that blank space? You guess. She tells Dash that her problem will get better. Tom spends all his time at home by Dash. He does not allow, again there is one gap space, to have a good time. He does not blame the problem. Again there is blank space. Tom's doctor said, treat Dash better Tom. These are your questions for today's class, and there are some options also. You can choose suitable one. Okay, I think you have guessed the right answer, and the right answers are these. We will see in our next slide. These are your right answers. Your subject is we in first case, that is why ourselves. Sarah and Tom, that means 2 persons are there, that is why themselves. Sarah means again girl in question number 2, that is why herself. Again in your next sentence there is she, that is why again herself. Tom is a boy's name, that is why himself. In second sentence your subject is he, again himself. and he does not blame the problem. We are giving much more emphasis to that problem, that's why itself. Okay. And Tom's doctor said to Tom, treat yourself better, Tom. So these are the right answers. I think you got the point. Okay. At the end of this class, I would like to give you some home assignment, and your home assignment goes like this. So we have done this. Let us move to the home assignment. We have done this. You see, this is home assignment. You can write it down. There are only 6 questions. She dash told me that she was going to America. Guess the right reflexive pronoun. Okay. They dash left their place. The principal dash knows that the staff are unhappy. Number D, I dash didn't write the letter. Number E, you dash did it. So when you is used as singular form and when plural form, decide. Okay. Lastly, number F, you are 3 in numbers. You have to feed dash. So these are your questions for home assignment. Okay, my dear students, I want you to complete these exercises, and yes, we have come to an end of today's class. I think you have understood what reflexive pronoun is, and I will see you next week. Till then, bye bye and take care.